Welcome to Diversity Conversations, where we engage in thought-provoking dialogue to identify leadership solutions to today's most challenging conflicts. Streamed live each week, Saturday 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Hosted by Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Strategist and CEOs Eric Ellis and Tommy Lewis. Join us and add your voice to this engaging diversity conversation.
Good morning, Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, the United States, and the world. My name is Eric Ellis, and I'm the President and CEO of Integrity Development Corporation, and I'm joined this morning by my good friend and brother,
Tommy Lewis, President and CEO of Make It Plain Consulting. Good morning, Eric.
Morning, Tommy. What's up, baby?
Hey, nothing much. A good Friday, a good Saturday, good grief.
That's right.
It's Saturday. I'm excited and thrilled about the opportunities that are behind us and in front of us.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, as you know, I had my second knee surgery this week on Tuesday morning.
Yes.
Total knee replacement. 2 for 2. I'm out of the way.
Yeah.
All recovering from here on out.
$6 million man walking around here. Yes, yes.
Titanium, 2 titanium knees.
I told her. I told. Don't let your knee. Don't take a knee.
That's right. Titanium. It's over for you.
I told Eric is the miraculous healer coming out. But in all seriousness, Erica, it's been Godspeed. I'm glad that the surgeries went well. Your recovery with some wisdom now. You have more wisdom.
I lost my mind there for a minute.
Yeah.
Look, I came out from under the knife. Every time them drugs, they have a lingering effect.
Yeah.
And for people like me, I don't realize the drugs are still in my system.
Yeah.
So, like, as soon as I got home, I was doing everything.
Right.
I was doing all my exercise, couldn't feel a thing. I was walking up down the steps 4 times. I'd be in the room looking at you like, she's like, what are you doing? Walking up the steps.
You just
The 4th time. I went and drove. I went to the UPS store.
Yeah.
Like the day after. The day after the surgery, I went to the UPS store. Chipotle's in the line waiting. I got home. My leg was like, what are you doing?
Hey,
I guess I better sit down somewhere.
Are we
So
going?
I went to an ice regimen.
Yeah.
But I went to physical therapy yesterday, sat down and hurt myself. And I'm really in great shape. I mean, my knee is already bent to 127, 127 degrees.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the goal for the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm already there. I did recognize that a lot of the strengthening work that I did on my right knee when I was working on my left knee has been helpful, but it is a process. I mean, I was really talking about a miracle. I think I even told my doctor, like, it's a miracle. I'm totally healed. I can run.
Slow down, young man. Slow down.
Somebody muzzle you. Make sure you don't get on the phone too much. Who's he talking to? I didn't think I was going to be that guy, Tom.
Right. Hey, that's what we do on the phone too. We want people to affirm what we want, right? I'm doing better, aren't I? I'm doing right. Yeah, you're doing good. You're great. And we run out into the world not
that nothing on.
Nothing on.
Mike Tyson had sweat all out.
Right.
Hi, what are we doing?
And folks will whisper, hey Mike, you know you're 58, right? 50. After that first round, did you see our good friend Iron Mike Tyson walking back to the corner?
Yeah. Mike said we have 2 different opinions of what the goal is here. You're looking for me to knock him out?
Yeah,
I'm just trying to get to 8.
I'm trying to get to 8. I'm trying to finish
right
on my feet.
He literally was this a couple times, like the whole round.
Hey, Mike went to the corner and sat down, and his corner man just start whispering to him. Did you see? Hey, brother Mike, it's all right, Grandpa. It's all right. Yep. Everything's good, man. Everything's good. Right. Let me check you out. Okay, you got your teeth. You got your teeth. Good. You got your teeth. All right. You still got your shoes on, Mike. You still got your shoes on.
Radio over to the corner. Don't hit me again.
Did you? Okay. Got it.
Yep.
I forgot the radio. Let me turn the signal. Right.
Yeah.
They got the signal. Right. And then Then the bell rang, and Mike said, I gotta go back out.
Right. Mike sat there to the last second.
Oh yeah. Michael.
You got to go out there. They say you can't get to 40 million unless you stand up.
Unless you stand up. Here's the point I got from last night. I got a number of points.
Right.
The first point or learning that I took away from last night is, and this is how my mind works,
Okay.
Eric. Netflix, although they're not ready for live broadcasting,
Was yours stopping all the time?
all the time,
Oh my
right? Buffering, it was stopping, right?
Woo!
They're not ready yet, but the business case to transmit a live event globally was just introduced. We saw a beta test
Right.
on how to bring together 80,000 people in one place, broadcast that out to tens of millions of people that then could compete against our national platforms.
Okay.
ABC, NBC, etc. So I saw that for one. Number two, I saw a 58-year-old man and a 27-year-old man with an agreement.
Right.
I mean, the sport of boxing is what it is, right?
Hey, bank, man.
And at the end of the day, walk away alive, walk away, I would say friendly.
Oh, they were friends before?
Friends
They were
after.
better friends
After. That was a good run. Man, I just saw a lot of things, Eric. I saw a lot of things about scaling.
Yeah.
And I thought about this. I'll close out with this.
That's good.
If you haven't heard of or watched the documentary on gentleman, his name is slipping me all of a sudden, of a World Wrestling Federation, right? And someone put in the chat, community, who is the owner of the World Wrestling Federation and then the WWE? He was McMahon. His last name is McMahon, right? So he created this buzz around pro wrestling, as it's called. And watch the documentary of how he developed his business of entertainment. Right. In fact, wrestling is not real. That's what folks used to say. He didn't care about that. He was in facilities, venues. He was in merchandise. He was in expansion. Thank you, Jim McMahon. It is phenomenal how certain business minds work.
That's absolutely right.
How certain people work. It's phenomenal, Eric, how certain people have this charismatic appeal that will draw them, draw others to them, right? If they're speaking the truth or not speaking the truth. We saw a lot of things last night.
Mike Tyson was supposed to be on the trash heap of boxers who made a lot of money, had a lot of fame, blew all the money, and are now destitute forever. That's where Mike Tyson was supposed to end up. And for some crazy reason, Mike Tyson has had more than just his boxing skills.
Absolutely.
He's had a unique and interesting mind and life from when he did the one-man sonnet.
Come on, Eric.
We couldn't believe that Mike was going to be on stage holding down a whole show himself.
Come on.
You can't call that man stupid.
Yep.
And then he concocted this, and he's made as much money as he ever made.
Yep.
I mean, it's just amazing. And literally, they had us on pins and needles thinking
he was going to walk away with the dub.
We were going to see a real fight.
We're going to see the 20-year-old Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
1 round knockout, 58 seconds.
He might get him right there. So the anticipation on the first round was so, I mean, it was just.
I hope Mike don't catch him.
Right. And then when we saw them legs, we realized he was fortunate to even climb over the rope and get in the ring.
Yep.
And then for 8 rounds, or at least 6 of them, they had us in some kind of anticipation that maybe something was going to happen. And Paul wonderfully respected Mike.
Yep.
And Mike got through the 8 rounds that he needed to get through and got paid.
Yeah.
And everybody had a good time.
So I'm curious, Eric, as we talk to our community and our community they speak to the broader community. 2 things. When you are witnessing someone whose time has come in their particular niche, when you are witnessing it, right? When you know,
There's some lessons
this
here.
is
Go ahead, Tommy. Go ahead.
How do you approach that person in love? How do you approach them in the office space, in the workplace? I have seen, Eric, people are approached with the gentle request to retire.
Yeah.
Eric, we want to have an end of year celebration for you, right? As you're looking at retiring, right? Yeah, I'm sorry. As you're looking to retire, Eric, right? We're going to give you the golden golf driver. Okay. And no buts. I've seen that. I've seen the forced retirement.
Yes, sir.
I have seen folks in the game longer than they should be. In other words, they are no longer effective.
Tapped on the shoulder.
Get tapped on the shoulder.
Biden got that tap.
Yep, sure did. Ooh, didn't think about that.
Biden got the tap. And the thing is, Mike didn't accept the tap.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, here's what I want to say to you, community, that there's something to be learned from what Mike Tyson is doing right now.
Yeah.
Because count it out. It's supposed to be over. It's supposed to be washed up. And he's a brand. And together they did something spectacular. The people that went there had a ball.
Yeah.
Because actually there was a lot of blood and real punching in the fights before.
Yep.
So if you needed good fighting,
you got it.
Yep. There's a lot of good punches and fights, And then this was a softball, but you were happy Mike didn't get hurt. You were happy that Paul respected him. I mean, that was the beautiful thing, man. They really, because this thing could turn racial, all kind of things could have happened.
All of that.
But it was just a beautiful payday. Yeah. And so, I'm not mad about that.
Yeah.
Tommy, today we want to talk about something, community, because we are now in the throes of the new presidency. Donald Trump is our president. He's now picking a lot of his cabinet and putting those in place. And we want to kind of remind people about DEIB, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. What is it and why does it even exist? Because we're living in a world now where people have said that DEI's got to go. And I think the new administration is looking at trying to sort of, clean the canvas, the landscape of DEI, because it's this big boogeyman bad thing that is allowing unqualified people to get jobs and opportunity. Tommy, is that what you're hearing?
That's exactly what I'm hearing. The words themselves have become either trigger words or they've become dog whistles, Eric. The dog whistles that are speaking to another mindset. When we talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, the dog whistle is that it refers to people of color. It refers to the marginalized folks. It refers to the unwelcomed folks.
Yeah.
So that terminology has been shifted from the true meaning of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging to this distorted concept of exclusion, of lack of belonging, and of unwantedness. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Well, let's start. And Tommy and I have 1,000 definitions in our head. Yeah. We've written a couple down. Diversity work is about stamping out discrimination in the hiring and recruiting process, finding the best talent wherever it lies, and ensuring that the best talent is incentivized to stay with an organization. Diversity is defined as individual uniqueness.
Yeah.
The things that make each and every one of us unique. The research suggests that as we sort of develop teams that are comprised of a diversity of people, from their thinking style to their race and ethnicity and gender, that team is then equipped to make better decisions. So diversity is not about tokenism. It's not about putting unqualified people in jobs. Diversity is this beautiful thing that celebrates the fact that we're all unique.
And the uniqueness comes in many different ways, not just the human characteristics such as race, gender identity, socioeconomic status, language, geographic location. All of those things define a person's identity based on their background, what they've been exposed to, how they view and engage with the world. It also includes those characteristics or values that are below the waterline, such as sense of self. And so everyone doesn't have high esteem, or they don't understand their own self-worth. And so that may show up in the workplace, in society, as a difference. Also, decision-making process. We don't always know by looking at someone which way they're going to vote.
Right.
Which decision are they going to make? And Eric, there are people in this world, we all know them and our community knows them, that they will look at us in our face, smile, shake our hand, nod in agreement, and do something very different in a decision. Right. I believe that talent is great. We're doing a great job reaching out to that talent pool, that community, and we are interested in hiring them. I'm shaking my head,
Right.
but when it comes time to hire them, oh no,
Never pull the trigger.
no, we're not going to hire them. So there's those characteristics that are what we call above the waterline, which we can see.
Right.
Those on the waterline that we can sometimes see, sometimes just assume or project. And then there's things below the waterline.
Thank you, Tommy, for that. And my father, his company had been credited by many for coining the term diversity. Mm-hmm. So let's look at the term diversity came along as a way of broadening the definition. We were dealing with racial bias, race and gender.
Yep.
And so diversity was a way to ensure that the dominant culture didn't feel left out or offended. So that's why diversity came along, in order to ensure that we were looking at all the ways in which people are unique and different. Equity then is about making a workplace fair for everyone, so that hard work actually results in better pay, status, and career growth. Fundamentally, equity work is anti-discrimination work. Equity work exists to end pay discrimination, bias, and favoritism in promotions, retaliatory firing, bullying, and harassment. So those are the things that equity has been put in place in many ways to try to interrupt. Is there anything wrong with that, Tommy?
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's anti-harassment.
Mm-hmm.
It's anti-retaliatory firing. It's anti-bullying. And if you, those who don't agree with that being anti, whatever is anti-X, then you are for that. You in one way, shape, or form, you're for that discrimination. You're for that bullying. You're for that. And so it plays itself out, Eric, again, not only in the workplace, but in society, where there are discriminatory practices and policies that have literally become systemic,
yes,
organizational, right? All that good stuff.
Yep.
That generation after generation after generation is being impacted from policies and practices of the past that were indeed baked in discrimination.
Right. So I've been a part of this work for long enough to absolutely remember, and this is still occurring, the situation where the guy got the vice president job. Let's just call the guy Good Old Joe.
All right.
Good Old Joe got the VP job. Everybody knew Good Old Joe didn't know anything. He had two brilliant women that would hold good old Joe's arms up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And good old Joe would make a speech that they wrote for him. And everybody say, boy, he's been around for a long time. I hear he doesn't even know how to dress himself well in the morning.
Mm.
But good old Joe has got this big, huge title, and the women, the brilliant women, are holding his arms up.
Yep.
Then, when good old Joe resigns, they'll put a woman in the job,
Okay.
cut the title, cut the salary, double the work.
Gosh.
I've seen that happen a dozen times, easily. And women are like, hold up, what happened? Well, good old Joe had a family. He was the head of household.
Yep.
She's got a husband.
Right. Come on.
Got a great job. He's an executive over, so we can save a lot of money.
Yep.
When we promote her.
Yep.
This is what has been occurring in the workplace that then brought about the need for equity, so that you could not take a good old Joe that couldn't do the work, and then, and he's getting paid, and everybody knows he can't do anything. The women are leading everything. When he retires, one of them thinks, I'm going to take his spot. No, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to cut down the title. We're going to cut the money in half, and we're going to double the work because you're smart.
So let me ask you, Eric, in the process of Joe being in his position, his arms are being assisted to raise, right? He knows it. He knows the real about everything. Right. What is it about Joe that would not allow him to speak the truth about how he got there, what he doesn't know, and who is really doing the work? What is it about Joe that has him actually behaving in the imposter syndrome?
History. His story. His story needs to be one of greatness.
Oh my goodness.
His story needs to be one of power and leadership and competence. And so, in order to protect history, he goes along with it. All the rest of it. That's what.
Wow, Eric, that's great. That's great. So as you're speaking, again, thank you, community, for staying with us. Because I'm a historian. I love that. And I'm thinking, with this new administration, with Trump coming in, and the shenanigans that preceded his coming in the last year and a half into today, and things he's doing, what is happening with regards to history? Right? We had some time where folks were like, anything that's critical thinking around race, we're going to abolish that.
That's right.
We're going to attempt to remove knowledge, education from that. We're done. It's our story or no story.
That's right.
It's our history or no history.
Right.
And so even the women who have propped up the history writers, they, I think, have acquiesced to their role, to their plight, right? And I'm not talking about all women.
No.
Right? And literally in our community.
But shocking.
Yes.
Surprisingly.
Acquiesced.
Yeah. Yep.
It said, okay, I'm just delegated to holding up Joe's arm. Oh my goodness.
Right. And you are punished for going against the grain.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring this up just for our community to take a look at this.
Yes, sir.
Because it's just something recent that I saw on Black Network. Trump suggests reparations for white victims of racial discrimination.
What?
And so what will we do with this?
Eric, I want our community to pipe in on this as well. Yeah. What do you think about this? Let me repeat this. Sorry to cut you off, E.
No.
Trump suggests reparations for white victims of racial discrimination. community unpack that for us. What do you think about that?
Right.
Yep.
Because we tried reparations for slavery, and every time it's mentioned, there's the chilling anger effect that goes across the country.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Why are you living in the past? We weren't there. We're not responsible. And yet you could throw this out and not move the needle and have it literally pondered.
Look, listen, E, because it's sinking in now. Ooh. If this is real, this is Trump. First of all, if you all don't remember that he would often claim that another person is racist if that person was a person of color, and they said anything, quote unquote, nasty to and about him. He would call them racist, right? And he then put out this energy that he was a victim of racism. And now he might be suggesting that he and others like him should be paid for being victimized on his race, what he's saying, the other person's racial discrimination.
Right.
We have to define what racism is. We have to define race. Let's start with race. And I'm not going to go down this path too long. Oftentimes, Eric, the non-dominant cultures of this world understand that they have a race. The dominant cultures, like the majority white folks, they do not really identify themselves as a race until it provides them some advantage, right? Some racial advantage, be it racial superiority, an advantage. So now I'm a race. I'm a white man.
Right.
Or it's around being, even when there's a group of 100 people and 6 or 7 of those people, 6 or 7%, are of color. The mindset of the white majority dominant culture would say that 6 or 7% are the majority of the group. Right? Majority of the group. And so they say anything that happens to them, the 6 or 7%, and they say it's racist, I can say what happens to me is racist as well. Right. And so you're talking about 350, 400 years of being paid back from things that happened in the past that you and I had nothing to do with.
Right.
I'm saying I have been racially discriminated against, where you and I both know what happened because it happened last year or 2 years ago. So we're not going to go back to a point where I don't remember or you don't remember the time, going back to a point that pay me $100 million for you shaming my name. But I can shame your name all I want. I can call you out of name.
Right.
I can dog whistle you all I want.
Many countries that look like you are
you're in the hole, right? I'm going to challenge your intelligence by calling you stupid or dumb. Has nothing to do with your intelligence. It has everything to do with your race and your gender.
And I can get away with it.
And I can get away with it. But if you say anything about me,
now it's racism, it's reverse, it's all that.
Pay me.
Right.
This is loaded.
Yeah.
Right. Where, again, the majority population may say, pay us. And I will say this, Eric. If this is true, if he's saying this, I would say that there are plans in place to put policies and
there's
practices.
No doubt about it. So Stephen Miller is his guy.
Okay.
That's who's pushing this.
Yeah.
Trump doesn't come up with this stuff on his own.
Yeah.
Stephen Miller is his diabolical genius.
Yeah.
Who is into white nationalism and reparations for whites. Now, I would say to you that all Republicans and the Supreme Court should come out dramatically against this.
I agree.
Because they do on the other side. They say there's no such thing as structural racism.
Yeah.
That's the problem with this is basic critical race theory
Indeed.
for whites.
Mhm.
Because critical race theory says that if there are these structures and systems that are in place, then I'm going to be disadvantaged because of the structures and
Yep.
systems that exist. That's what this is saying.
Hmm.
But it's turning it on its head for whites.
Hmm.
Same thing that they reject wholly and boldly.
Mhm.
The Supreme Court overturned affirmative action because of
Yep.
this.
Oh my goodness.
And now they want to repackage it and sell it to us, reparations for white victims of racial discrimination. Now, I'm a critical thinker. Tommy Lewis and I are critical thinkers. I would not wholesale just reject this.
Mm-hmm.
I won't.
Come on.
Because I know that there are some companies where white boss, this white employee, I would have put you in that job, but they made me put a woman or minority in the job. That was wrong. It often happened even if it wasn't true.
Yep.
But because I didn't want to own that you were less qualified, I told you that I would have put you in the job, but they made me put a woman. That's a legitimate case.
Yes.
So hear from Tommy and I.
Yep.
If discrimination happens to whites like that, it's legitimate and it deserves a response.
Yep.
We can see it both ways. It's just that it's funny that the people who will reject all discrimination on the other side are now seeking to put before us, in the language of reparations, really clowning with and making a mockery of the systems of oppression that we've had in this country. But let me tell you the greater focus so that you don't lose track of where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't nothing but a game. Tommy and I are not over here up in arms like, I can't believe it. Tommy, let's protest. This is horrible. No. Here's the thing I love about our next president, 47. He's a master of deception. And he literally throws out decoys, distractions. This is one of his distraction balls. I've said it all the time. He's got a pocket full of balls. He knows that the media, and in many respects, us, the public, are cats. He got a pocket full of balls. So all he does is throw out balls, and we go chasing after him like, oh, this is horrible. Clowning. Don't be clowned. It's something for us to talk about and discuss, but don't be clowned. But I'll tell you that for me, it's concerning because it goes back to, it literally is lighting the fuse of civil war and race wars in our country. Mm-hmm. Why would we, what would we say about Russia, China, the Taliban, if they came over here and started these kind of fights? Mm-hmm. What would we say about it? Mm-hmm. For what reason would you want to light a racial war fight in this country if you're trying to help us to be a better place?
Those are motives that I don't understand, except that it may be around supremacy. It may be around discrimination. It may be specifically around inequity. So we're talking about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. This country has been evolving for a long time. We're a young country. We're trying to get some things right. We had human beings create constitutions and Bill of Rights and enforce, make laws, all that good stuff. These are all human beings who are flawed, every single one of them. But we also have learned that with inclusion.
Yeah, talk about that.
Inclusion is the work is about building a workplace norms and expectations that make everyone feel respected, where a critical mass of people have agreed that a safe, respectful, and collaborative workplace is better for everyone. Safe, psychologically safe, emotionally safe, logically safe, physically safe, spiritually safe, all of that safety is important to inclusion. Respect, Eric. Respect is that the organization and people in the organization see one another as they see themselves. Mm-hmm. So therefore, policies, procedures, practices are put in place to help themselves be safe and the other person and other people be safe, and ultimately create a workplace environment that we are working together to provide the service or product.
Right.
Our number one customer in any organization is the internal customer. Right. Without the employees, businesses can't do the work, even if it's a sole proprietorship. If it's one person, without that one person, there's not anyone working the business.
Right.
Without one client, one customer, that product is not being sold, that service is not being delivered. And so inclusion is ensuring that we first acknowledge that there are differences of people,
yep,
differences of needs, interests, and demands. And then secondly, inclusion is the behavior, right? It's the behavior of ensuring respect, collaboration,
right,
commitment,
right,
all that good stuff.
Yeah, and so we've heard people say diversity is, having a seat at the table or being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance.
Yeah.
And so what I would say to our community is that we value inclusion of voices that are different and see the world differently than we do.
Yeah.
Because it protects us from our own blind spots. So inclusion is not something that's just a tokenism strategy. I understand that people that believe that they don't look at race, gender, they don't look at differences, then they're concerned about what they would describe as artificial strategies that try to force diversity or inclusion, irregardless of qualifications and competence.
Yep.
I understand. We are not believers in here's what I know as a researcher, that the worst performing team that you can put together is a diverse team that doesn't value those differences. You have anarchy on your hands. So diversity alone has no value. It's only when you have diversity, talented, diverse people, and we respect and value those differences that we then can develop and put forth the most high-performing teams. That's why America is among one of the greatest nations in the world, because we have diversity and we have found a way to utilize a lot of it.
So let me ask you this question, Eric. In the workplace particularly, what are some of the examples or behaviors where inclusion is not happening within a team, within a group, within an organization?
That's a good question, Tommy. I think that wherever there are positions that are desirable, then that's where our biases get activated more aggressively.
Oh, yes.
What we discovered is that oftentimes organizations have done away with a lot of the major discriminations at the entry level. And then even at that first level of promotion, we see more equity and balance there. But it's once they get beyond that first level and start really moving into positions of opportunity and power that we see something that we've historically defined as the glass ceiling. In other words, you can see to the next level, but you can't get to it. What we discovered is that oftentimes it was not because of a lack of talent, skill, and ability. That oftentimes when we look at who gets promoted to the highest level, it's based upon three things: familiarity, comfort, and trust. How familiar am I with this individual? How comfortable am I with them? And can I trust them? And what we found is that people are more familiar with, comfortable with, and trusting of people like themselves. So if it's males, then males are more familiar with other males from sports and fishing trips. They're more comfortable with them. They can tell jokes without concern about repercussion.
Yep.
And so what we find is that oftentimes it was really hard to get people to move away from their very gut, basic, almost instinctive desires for sameness.
Yeah, that's a good learning right there. I'm taking it in, community. I'm sure you're taking it in as well. That was good instruction, Eric, because I think that in these conversations, diversity conversations, I think it's easy to throw out information, to share one's opinion. I think it's easy to share my opinion. I think it's more difficult to hear and understand a different way,
Right.
a different opinion.
And let me throw something in here, Tommy, to finish the story on that familiarity, comfort, and trust. Those are not bad things. So what we determined was that if you are looking for people who are going to be that next generation of leadership, that it's not wrong to want to put people in those roles that you're familiar with, you're comfortable with them, and you trust them.
Yep.
The problem is you just have to increase the level of familiarity, comfort, and trust that you have with the diversity of people. That's the only problem. You got to expand who you are familiar with, comfortable with, trusting of. So men are more familiar with other men because of sports, they're more trusting of them. You got to then find ways to get that familiarity, that comfort, that trust up with women, with people within the LGBTQ community, with people of color. You've just got to do the work to make sure that you're fully aware of, comfortable with, trusting them because you've seen their work.
Yes.
So it looks at who do I give key assignments to? Who am I trusting to be in front of our customers? Those are things that then they elevate my comfort level with your ability to take over.
So is it safe to say that there may be opportunities, Eric, where I trust someone who may be loyal to me and I promote or appoint them to a role that they are incapable of doing, unqualified to do, but it's not about the qualification and the merit at this point. It's about my trust in them and their loyalty to me.
Bingo. So that's where we are right now. You've nailed it, Tommy Lewis. That's where we are right now.
All right.
And so here's the thing. The reason why Tommy and I wanted to bring up this DEIB is because of its attack. Tommy, hit that last belonging. We'll just close the loop on that and then we'll talk.
Belonging. Belonging is the fundamental human need. We all seek workplaces where we feel valued and cared for as individuals. We will, when we cultivate an environment where employees experience a sense of belonging, it stabilizes the workplace and motivates them to invest more of their discretionary effort, that is effort outside of their daily job responsibilities, et cetera, for the collective good.
Right.
So people do more for the betterment of the whole.
When they feel a sense of belonging.
Yes.
So here's the thing. There is attack on DEIB. That's a lot of what Tommy and I do. That's not all what we do. We do a lot of things, but it's a significant portion. And so in many ways, the industry has sort of set back and just take this pummeling, people just pummeling. And then here's the underlying concern. The underlying concern has been that DEI efforts have lowered the qualifications and standards for excellence, which then has allowed unqualified people of color mainly to get those good jobs that the whites that are now that Trump is looking for reparations for have been discriminated and left out of. So the notion is that meritocracy has been the status quo, and DEI has come in with this unqualified sort of initiative to give people things that they do not deserve. So let's take a look at that. And what I would say to you is that to be a diversity critical thinker means you have to go beyond your own paradigms and you have to understand the legitimacy of perspectives that are different than the one that you have. So whatever Tommy and I are talking about, We are never in the bag or in the tank for one position. We know and we think through the balance, the fullness of strengths and weaknesses that exist within any conceptual structure. And so that's what we're asking you to do. So let's take a look at what President Trump is doing right now. He's choosing people for his cabinet. He has recommended for Attorney General Matt Gaetz, Congressman Matt Gaetz, the guy who's been being investigated for sex trafficking, drugs with minors. But let's just look at this, because if you're a partisan, the hair is up on your back right now and on your neck, and you're thinking, oh, those liberals, they're after us. They just don't like Trump. No, I would say to you that there are parts of things that Trump's doing that I look forward to. I think it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a ride. I think that some of the status quo needs to be upended. That's why so many people voted for Trump. They're just tired of business as usual. And I agree with that. I think that Marco Rubio was a safe pick for Secretary of State. I think he's a good guy. He's patriotic. I like patriotic people who love the country. But let's go back to Matt Gaetz. All I want you to do, you don't have to take our word for it all. Google it or go to ChatGPT. Those of you that are into AI, I just want to encourage you to go to ChatGPT and put in there U.S. Attorney General qualifications and see what it spits out for you. And it will spit out things like someone who's a master at the law, someone who has served as a judge, someone who has significant executive leadership and management skills, someone who is not a partisan. And see if you see any qualifications for Attorney General that Matt Gaetz fulfills. He does not, because he is totally and completely, I'm going to use the U word, unqualified. Unqualified. It's got nothing to do with his race. Got nothing to do with his political beliefs. Nothing to do with any of that. It's everything to do with he is unqualified. And that's what DEI was put in place to do, was to eliminate the cronyism of putting people into position who were unqualified and were selected because of their ideology or their racial beliefs. We don't use that word enough with the dominant culture. We use it with marginalized people all the time, and it gets accepted and bought into all the time. I want to say loudly for everyone to hear, Matt Gaetz is completely, wholly, totally unqualified to be Attorney General. If you want to start a starting place, look at the last Attorney Generals that Trump himself selected. Both of those gentlemen were qualified.
And you can say this, Eric, by taking a look at past Attorney Generals.
All up.
For those who of the community and the world who are completely unfamiliar with the roles and responsibilities of an Attorney General, not only from a state perspective, but the U.S. Attorney General, research that as well.
Right.
Because you don't always have to know everything about everything, but research it and ask yourself through ChatGPT or Google, etc. What is the role and responsibilities of the Attorney General?
Big job. That's a big job.
Big job. And then what are the qualifications?
Yeah.
In other words, what might a candidate or a nominee need on their resume to even be considered for an interview?
That's right.
Right? Not considered for the job.
No.
Just to be considered. And so when you think about diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging, there were, and in some cases still are, situations where there is a position or an opportunity available. And the people who are making the decision to judge another person to take that position has bias. They may be more comfortable with that particular person. They may even project on that person, such as, I don't know this person, but they remind me of myself
when I was young.
And so I would like us to make a decision to give them a stretch opportunity,
Just a better fit.
just for them to grow, right? And we will support them. We'll give them 5 to 10 years, right? So if they make blunder after blunder after blunder, so much so that it's detriment to our organization, we have to give them a pass.
Right.
We have to continue to support them. And so that's the person I would like us to go with. And when I say I would like us to go with, it means we will go with them.
Exactly.
Sounds good? Good. We'll go with them.
Right.
That is extreme bias that really undermines the argument of qualified,
That's right.
credentialed,
Meritocracy.
experienced. Yeah, it undermines that.
What is meritocracy?
Nothing right now.
It's nothing. And the thing is, we have to begin to call. But here's the thing. I love this. I love a couple things. So I watch these things in theater for me. So I love that right now the Republicans are laughing and falling all over themselves that the Democrats are losing their minds. They won the election. They have the freedom to make decisions now. I'm not losing my mind over that. I think that's how elections work. That when you win, you get to make the call.
Yep.
Here's what I'm laughing at in anticipation of. You can give me a big job, Tommy. I got it. Tommy, have you ever gotten a big job that you wasn't really ready for?
Oh no.
I had one of those.
Right.
I had one of those. I won. I didn't know how to do it. And now every day and every check that I received was like a python around my neck. Restricting. Oh no, I should get it. I didn't have much fun. I can tell you this. If Matt Gaetz has the good fortune of winning the job, Matt, I'm going to tell you right now, take yourself out of consideration. Just say, thanks, President, but no thanks, because it's going to be like a python, bro. It's going to be like a python. It's going to be all around your neck, twisting the life out. And why? See, when you go into these jobs as a crony, you go in there with the mind of a pilfer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, there's lots of stuff in here. I mean, what can we get our hands around? And right now I'm trying to fill up my pockets with rolls and tea cakes and something like that. That's what you do the first week. Right. Is you go right in, you grab a lot of tea cakes. We won. Then all of a sudden, somebody comes in and says, they got bombs rigged everywhere. What? At your house, your grandmother's house, one was right out in the car. You know the last time you didn't want us to go out with you? That car blew up. You don't want these jobs. The world is a dangerous place.
Yes, sir.
And you can give me something, but God bless the person who can survive that. Because when you come into my house and I'm a shark, I'm an intelligence shark, and you're a neophyte buffoon.
Yep.
Let's just call you what you are.
A fool.
A beginner, training wheels on. You don't know any of the acronyms nor the language.
Yeah.
We'll show you the ropes. Ready, big guy?
Yep.
Go over there and stand in the corner. Press that button. What's that? That's a special button for the leader.
Yeah.
Boom. I'm locked in the cage. Well, see, you didn't know.
Didn't know at all.
Now you locked in the cage. Now you asking me to let you out.
That's good. That's good.
I'm going to tell y'all, this ain't no game. As we're trying to play games in this thing and pilfer for our own foolish selves, you can't hide that forever. And God bless the person who gets the job that they're unqualified to do because it'll hang you. And so I just sit back right now prayerfully, hoping that we don't kill ourselves. I do believe that President Trump will make some decisions that will be in the best interest of us as a country. He will attempt to deregulate some things that make it easier for business to do business. But he's going to make a lot of decisions out of his own personal self-interest that are going to cause great harm to him, to the party, and to our country. And I would say this, that we should not spend a lot of time in foolish arguments where we're simply back and forth.
Yeah.
Neither one listening to the other side.
Indeed, that doesn't work.
I can promise you that diversity conversations means that Tommy and I are not just sharing a point of view, but we're always open to learning, to seeing, to observing, and to saying something was a good choice when it turns out to be that way.
Absolutely.
And so that's what we'll do here is, I'll tell you, I think that President Trump is now considering Johnny Taylor to possibly be Secretary of Labor.
Okay.
Johnny Taylor is a good friend of mine. He's the current CEO of SHRM. That will be a good selection.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't think that you should be a part of the Trump administration if you're on the other side. I think as many good people as we can get to help President Trump, the better. Good luck.
Yeah, we have to know how these things work. You know, when we're looking at surrounding ourselves with opposing sides, opposing perspectives, and lived experiences, and simply expertise, I think it's a good thing. Harold Washington, and many of you are familiar with the name Harold Washington. He was the African-American mayor of the city of Chicago, and he was notorious for bringing the parties together, putting different representatives on certain committees. And so there was not a single committee in this institution or organization where it was all one party or one side, one perspective. Harold Washington was historically known for this, that they would succeed, the city of Chicago, by way of inclusion. Who is not at the table? Who is not being represented? Right? And so that's something to consider. The other thing, Eric, is as you were talking, I was reminded in my thinking that we talk about federal government, we talk about the highest position of the land, we talk about a lot of things that personally, Eric, I'm not in those rooms.
Right.
And so some of it's coming through information from some other places, but there are rooms that I am in. And I know that these diversity conversations give me the insight to look around the rooms that I'm in.
That's good, Tommy. I like that.
To move it from the macro to the micro.
Woo!
Right?
Who are we missing?
Who are we missing? I'm talking about in my immediate life.
Exactly.
If there's not any diversity in the rooms that I'm in, am I going to speak up about it? Right. That's anyone in the community. So it's not about way up here, outside of our reach, in meetings and rooms that we're never going to be in.
Right.
It's around our immediate boardrooms, our immediate office spaces, our immediate communities, our immediate homes. If you truly believe in the uniqueness of people, diversity, in ensuring that everyone is treated fairly, is treated with some sense of humanity, and is included, take a look at your own home. Have you had people in your home that looks different than you?
That's good, Tommy.
That has a different perspective than you, right? So there are people that may look like you, but think differently about the same topic.
Right.
Is that diversity in your own home? If not, start there.
Right. And we'll come to ICE and we'll transpose her point and mix it with Tommy's. When you feel your environment with only loyalists and cronies that are unwilling to ignore the institution in favor of the dear leader, us, more power is funneled directly to us. The problem is that if I only have people that are loyalists and cronies, then I've got to depend on my ideas being the best and right all the time.
Right.
Which is not, it's impossible. So it kills me. It weakens me. It lessens my ability to be an effective leader if I'm only stocking my environment.
Yeah.
So Tommy said, let's take it away from President Trump. Let's bring it down to our own selves and our own environments. to make sure that we are inclusive
Yep.
of people who may not see things the way we do.
And that's a challenge, right?
That's a challenge.
Yeah, we welcome these things, Eric. We have people who work with us who have very different views
Absolutely.
than we do.
Absolutely.
We do. They work with us, right? They're paid by our organizations.
Yeah.
We know where we sit in our organizations, Eric, that if we could make unilateral decisions
Right.
to move that idea
Right.
or ideal or that person away.
Right.
We choose otherwise because there's richness in testing my own thinking, understanding a different perspective, a different view. So when we're in any capital A, capital N, capital Y, any conversation, we can be in the conversation. It's not being combative. It's not being confrontational, right? It's being inclusive in that because we too want to be included. So we surround ourselves with this different thinking, different lived experiences, right? Even experiences yet to be had. Because coming together with differences, there's something around the horizon, over the horizon, that's something's going to happen that's going to be an aha moment. It's going to be a significant and a pivotal moment. If I stop myself by arguing this point and then prove myself right, I may get into, I'm right, and I don't even move. I'm the victor. I'm the victor. And the world is still moving, still changing, still evolving. We're not the same world as we were 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, maybe even yesterday. So are you putting yourself in a position to have honest, authentic, and safe diversity conversations to grow personally, professionally, and all the other things that we need to grow in? If you're not doing that, we welcome you to do it. It is extremely enriching, extremely wealth building of knowing what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the richness of our conversations.
Right. And as we bring this to a close, I'm reminded of a guy recently that said he's so happy that Trump is going to be eliminating Obamacare. And they told him, well, he said, because I'm on the Affordable Care Act.
Uh-huh.
They said, sorry, my friend, did you not know that's Obamacare? What? And so I'll tell you, Tommy and I've already done the calculation. There's very little that the federal government can do that's going to shake us. Right. I mean, I don't even care. I'm not alarmed and up in arms over they might take away Social Security.
Yeah.
But some of you who are tremendous supporters of the new president are depending on Social Security. And your life is going to be shaken all the way upside down. All we're saying is make sure that you maintain an open mind to see the good news and the things that you're excited about from a political standpoint, but also to see the weaknesses. Tommy and I take it further than politics. And we say in your life, make sure that you know who your friends are, you know who your detractors are, but your friends aren't always right.
Yep.
And your detractors aren't always wrong. And so here at Diversity Conversations, we welcome people to try to be full thinkers, robust thinkers who are willing to look at left, right, and center in order to understand from an integrity standpoint, where's the right place that you should stand for the betterment of you as an individual, ultimately for all the rest of us around you. And so we're going to say thank you for joining us today and have a great week. And we'll look forward to you joining us next week for powerful
Diversity Conversations.
That's it.
See you then.
Take care.